Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel, and I'm very excited today because I finally got around to making a video about a new addition to the Granblogismo fleet, which is this Land Rover Discovery 3. Now before I start talking about the car, there are a couple of updates I'd want to give you, so let's get into that now. So as you know, I've been talking about it for about a year. We've been trying to move house and finally it's actually happening. So in less than 2 weeks we're moving to our new property, and that means that I can start doing work again on the Lotus Esprit, which I paused last year due to lack of space. And my new place does have a double garage, so I'm very excited to finally have somewhere I can continue that restoration. The house also has a larger driveway, so I'm hoping to be able to do this kind of video as well as more workshop stuff on the XK8 and the MGB, and kind of pump a bit more life into the channel. As you know, I've been doing less videos so far this year, largely because of the move and the space in which to film this kind of stuff. But back to the Disco 3, let's see what that's all about. Okay, so let's start off with what I've bought and why I've bought it. This is a Land Rover Discovery 3 HSE, or an LR3 if you're in a different part of the world. It has the 2.7 litre turbo diesel V6. They did do a 4.4 litre V8 petrol, but they're quite rare and expensive to run. This one was built in 2004, so first year of production, and it's covered 134,000 miles. So that is kind of normal for this kind of car. They were workhorses and people drove them a lot, so a lot of cars have over 100,000, and they seem to go to around about 200,000 without too much difficulty, as long as you keep on top of servicing and that kind of thing. And the reason I bought this car is to kind of fill a bit of a gap that we had. So moving house, we're going to do a bit more driving. Currently we do a lot of walking everywhere because our house is kind of near towns where we work and kids go to school, but we're going to have to drive a lot more in our new place. And our daily car, although it's perfectly capable of transporting the family, we kind of need a bit of a backup, and it's been giving us a bit of trouble recently, our daily, so it's good to have something as a bit of a replacement. Now these aren't really known for their reliability, so I don't really know how well that's going to work out. But it also has a few other purposes as well, which I'll go into once we get into the sort of details of this particular vehicle. But let's have a quick look at the outside of it. Now I really love the look of this car. It's unapologetically boxy and looks like it serves a purpose. The styling's kind of inspired by the Range Rover that came out around the same sort of time, and underneath it's very similar to the Range Rover Sport that came out a couple of years after this car. This one's finished in Tonga Green, and I think Tonga Green looks really great on a Land Rover. It's kind of a traditional colour. A lot of the cars when it came out and tested by people like Top Gear and things were silver, and that was a really nice colour I think, but I prefer the green, and especially because it's kind of a metallic colour, it kind of changes a little bit in different lights. One thing I have changed on this car, so when this car came to me it had a really sort of bling chrome grille on it, and that was in the style of a supercharged Range Rover, and it'd seen better days. The chrome trim was coming off and it looked a bit sort of cheap and nasty. It also had chrome fog light surrounds, so with the help of my son Alex, we swapped over the parts, these chrome ones, for the kind of normal OEM style fog light surrounds and headlight washers, as well as the grille. This grille is actually a salvage part. It was about £30, so a nice cheap unmodify of the front to get it back to its normal look there. And oddly, I mean, when I was looking at these cars, I was looking at Discovery 4s, because Discovery 3 to Discovery 4, they're basically the same car, but the Discovery 4 was a lot more upmarket in terms of its interior feel, and they'd ironed out a lot of the problems that these cars had, sort of the electrical gremlins and that kind of stuff, as well as having more powerful and more efficient engines. So what people tend to do with Discovery 3s, because Discovery 3s are about half the price of a Discovery 4, or even cheaper than that. This one's about £5,000, and Discovery 4s with similar miles are around 10 maybe. And my initial sort of plan with this car was to do a bit of a sort of facelift. You can do a DIY facelift on these. You can put the Discovery 4 rear lights on them, and you can put Discovery 4 grille on them and that kind of thing, and kind of do a bit of an update there. But as I got used to this car, I really love the way it looks. I kind of love the Disco 3-ness of it, and I don't really want it to be a Disco 4 like. I want to celebrate this particular car, especially as it's kind of a 2004 first year production. I'd like to keep it more or less styled like a Discovery 3. Now the other thing that people tend to do with these is go mad onto the sort of overland builds, proper off-roader style things with mud terrain tyres and that kind of stuff. And I do think that I will try and toughen this up a little bit, make it look a bit more purposeful as an off-road car, but I don't think I'm going to go quite as far as a full-on off-roading machine. I think the way in which we're going to use the car is going to be very much more for holidays, so camping, trips to the beach, and the multi-purpose nature of this vehicle, which I'll go into a bit more when we do the inside, it transforms a bit, so I think we'll use it for lots of different things. And I think having a roof rack, for example, to be able to store stuff on, or like an awning that you can pull out perhaps to sit under if you go to a beach, kind of like a day van, that might be a good idea. But we'll just have to see kind of where this car fits into our lives and what modifications will actually be useful to us. So moving to the inside of the car then, I really loved the interior of this car, and being a Discovery 3 HSE, which I think stands for high spec equipment, you do feel like you're getting a few luxuries. So full leather interior, as well as lots of buttons to press and that kind of thing. You also get a screen at the front here which tells you some of the 4x4 information, heights of wheels, your steering angle, as well as the status of locking diffs and that kind of stuff. Other things for the HSE spec cars, I think even for some of the lower specs as well, is you get air suspension. So not only does that mean you can raise the car up and lower down for off-road or access purposes, you also get quite a comfortable ride as well, and it kind of levels out as you go around corners and that kind of thing. And on the motorway it does feel like you're sort of floating along, much more like a comfortable saloon car, say, and it rides a lot better than our Audi A4 Estate, because that's much harder riding, and this doesn't bounce at all, it just kind of floats, which is really good for longer distances, even though the fuel economy is pretty dire for a turbo diesel at around 27 mpg. In the back it's still very comfortable, and I'm 5'11", so not overly tall, but I'm not short either, and I've got tons of room in here, and the children feel like they've got acres. And one of the good things about this car is it's got a flip down DVD player. Now the DVD is actually stuck in there, it's on Lilo and Stitch on repeat, but you can actually put other inputs into it, so you can put things from your phone or an iPod and play it on the screen, and that's really great for long car journeys. The other thing about it being an HSE spec car is that you get these rear audio controls with headphone jack. So as you can see, we've got some headphones for the children, and them glued to the screen means that anything over about sort of 15 minutes journey means that they're kind of quite well occupied with the screen and everything, which is a lifesaver really. Another HSE special is these sunroofs. So it's one pane of glass that runs from here to the back of the car, and there's two openings, one above this middle row of seats and one for the boot / third row of seats, and it just brings more light into the car and again entertains the children. It doesn't open or anything, it's just purely just another window, but a great addition I think. So moving into the back and putting these seats up reveals more of the multi-purpose nature of this car, turning it from a 5-seater into a true 7-seater vehicle. Now, as I said, I'm not overly tall, I'm 5'11", but I've got bags of room back here, and you can fit 7 adults in here, no problem. There's not much boot space after you put the 7 seats up, but there's enough for a couple of weekend bags, and it's a comfortable ride. And again, being an HSE with my sunroof, I've also got those audio controls that I mentioned before. So when I'm talking about this car having multiple purposes, you go from very much a sort of 5-seater family car with a large boot similar to an Estate, but by putting these seats up you then turn it into more of like an MPV type of thing, so you can take, you know, the kids and their friends to a party, or you and your friends out for dinner or whatever, or even as a really great road trip car. You know, it's really got enough space, especially if we put a roof rack on it, for example. And then if you fold all of these seats flat, you've got enough room in here to move a significant amount of stuff, so almost like a van. And in fact, they released a commercial version of this car with the seats removed and just having this big load space. I don't know if the rear doors open, they must have done for loading purposes, but really can use this car for all different things. And although it might not be the most reliable 4x4 on the market, I think it's probably one of the most flexible for the money, and I'm hoping that it will fill multiple roles in its time with us. And of course, the trait of Land Rovers and Range Rovers of this size is the bench seat at the back. Now this is just great, I think. This top part of the rear hatch opens up to provide some sort of shade or even a temporary rain cover, and this seat is definitely enough for a couple of people to sit on and have a picnic or something like that, or your kids to change out of their Wellington boots or get their sandy feet washed down. So yeah, a very practical vehicle, and again you can see the boot space behind me is ample, and we've fitted a lot of camping gear in here with no problem at all. Okay, so my other camera running out of battery was subtly telling me that it was time to wrap it up. So the Land Rover Discovery 3, super excited to have this car in our small collection as our sort of substitute daily driver / holiday car, and I'm really looking forward to putting some bits and pieces on this, such as, you know, roof rack and that kind of stuff, to toughen it up and make it a bit more practical for our family adventures. And of course I'll try and share all of the things I do to it and give you kind of updates as I use this car. One thing I should apologise for was shorts in this video. My legs on display, no one wants to see that. But what I'm not sorry for is wearing my t-shirt. So you'll have seen it's kind of a Jaguar Heritage logo style and just says Jag for the people who own a Jag. It's on T-Mill. I'll put the link in the description below. There's a couple of other designs on there which I've put together if anyone wants any t-shirts. So I think that's it. Very much looking forward to moving to our new house, and hopefully a somewhat normal schedule videos will result from that. A video every week or two, hopefully for the rest of the year if I can do it. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye bye.